I left my hometown 2 years ago to create a reality I didn't need to escape from. A reality of travel, adventure, and most importantly, freedom. Now, to create this reality, I of course needed a lot of money. Grinding at two dead end 9 to 5 jobs would have never granted me the ability to create the life I have now, which led me to take the biggest gamble of my life. I booked a one way flight to Thailand with 1500 USD in my pocket. But a few weeks later, my bank account was at a flat zero, and I had just hit rock bottom and even had to fast for 4 days straight. But there was no way I was going to go home a loser and just give up. So instead of giving up while starving, I changed my life completely. I started networking, building up my skills, and finally landed my first remote sales role. Fast forward to today, I'm able to make $20,000 a month consistently, travel the world, and have been able to unlock complete freedom. But this whole story started just a few years ago when I was 19, stuck in university. During university, I was your typical degen, drinking, smoking weed, sleeping around, pretty much just wasting my entire life away. And even though I was attending a Christian university, ironically, it was the most godless time in my entire life as I was losing a piece of myself each and every single day. But one night I was hanging out with a few of my friends and I indulged in shrooms for the first time in my life, and I started to look at myself in the mirror. And what seemed like hours was probably just a few minutes, and I was able to look deep down on the path that I was on, and I got to see where I would end up if I had continued down the university route. I then watched myself in the mirror pretty much just curl up into a ball, into a cocoon, and came out a whole totally different, new and improved version of myself. I felt a spark that was lit in my heart, and I felt like I was alive for the very first time in a very long time. I had finally woken up to the reality I was in, and I knew right then that something had to change. After that very, very pivotal night, I decided right then and there that I needed to drop out and climb out of the hell I got myself into. Less than 6 months later, that's exactly what I did. I dropped out, and all that was on my mind was to be able to attain a life where I could live on my terms and do what I actually want to do. To be able to travel, explore, while also being able to print everywhere I went. But being a uni dropout with the knowledge I got from a fake guru in university who didn't really teach me anything, I was pretty much rendered useless. So the only thing that I knew to do to get as rich as possible was to stack up two 9 to 5s and just start stacking cash. So I got one job at Racetrack where I worked from 5 a.m. to 1 p.m. Then I got another job at Red Lobster as a server from 2 p.m. until 10 p.m. Now both of these jobs, they were excruciating in their own ways, but at least I knew I was stacking up cash and moving the needle forward closer to where I wanted to be in life. But as you could probably guess, I got burnt out pretty quickly, grinding away every single day, working for two bosses I had no respect for, and had to do very disgusting tasks that I'm very, very glad I never have to do again. One of the worst tasks that I hated to do the most was at Racetrack when I had to take all of the outdoor trash bags and replace them. The weather was very cold and the trash bags weren't as strong as you think. Very often they would pop open and warm, smelly, pungent gas juice would just be all over my hands, my feet. Not a very great time. But I knew deep down inside that I would very soon find a way to make it to where I really wanted to go. Then one night after a very long, hard day of work, I was alone in my room, watching YouTube, watching these people that looked my age, having a blast in Koh Samui, Thailand. They looked my age and they were driving motorbikes, sparring, hitting the gym, and just doing things that I overall loved doing, while also having beautiful weather, very cheap stuff, and I was like, okay, this is the place I want to go. So after realizing that I needed to leave my hometown and escape to Thailand, I quit this Racetrack job and picked up a contracting gig as a gutter guard installer for people's homes and their gutters. And with this new contracting gig, I would be earning a lot more money than at Racetrack, all while not having to take out the trash or listen to a fat guy tell me what to do all day. But what it turns out is that this contracting gig did not seem as easy as I thought it out to be. First off, I made the biggest financial mistake of my life. I got into $8,000 worth of debt, got this beautiful F-150, which I named Betty, plus buying all the tools, ladders, ladder racks, and everything else that I needed in order to be a contractor and to actually complete jobs. Now, as a contractor, you're going to be driving 1 to 2 hours to and from each job, carrying 40-foot ladders and near 100-degree Fahrenheit heat, all while not being trained properly to complete each and every single job efficiently. So it's safe to say I was set up for failure. Speaking of failure, and during one in particular job, I was working for 14 hours. It was pouring rain. I had no idea how to do this type of house. I was calling the company, telling them all these problems, and they were saying, Ryan, just do your best. It'll be fine. Turns out it was not fine. It was a complete failure, and the company charged me back a lot of money. This was nearing the limit of what I could take, because they were telling me one thing and then charged me back, so it was a complete disaster. A few jobs later, as I continued down the contracting, I didn't give up quite yet. It was a very, very hot day, had little to no water. Looking back, I believe I was on the verge of a heat stroke, but for certain, I was definitely dehydrated. After the job was complete, I was driving poor Betty, RIP, back home down a street. There's some traffic being held up by a mailman doing some deliveries. And I saw this mailman. I saw him like a mile away, and guess what? I just straight up hit him, rear-ended him right there. Now, I don't know if I had a heat stroke, was severely dehydrated and couldn't operate my hands and feet, or if it was just divine intervention, but I just flat out hit him. Now, thankfully, everyone was okay, or so I thought. Poor Betty did not make it out alive. She was in fact totaled. So now, just leaning on what was left of Betty, I was thinking to myself, how can life get any worse than this? There's no more contracting, $8,000 down the drain. It wasn't even my money, it was a loan from the bank. And now I was kind of just losing hope. Everything felt like it was coming to an end. There was really no more options for me. I would have to go back to racetrack or a different job. And I just started looking at the sky. I was just blank. I had no idea what to do. I started to realize that for so long, I was grinding in the wrong direction, the wrong vehicle, that I was ignoring myself from the fact that I wasn't where I wanted to be in life with all of these pointless jobs. The fact was, I was ignoring my inner calling for a very long time, and now I was paying the price. So now, with nothing else to lose, I lost the truck, I lost the contracting gig. I would not go back to any normal jobs. I knew I had to embark on my hero's journey and embark on my quest to Thailand. Now, with nothing holding me back anymore, I sold what was left of poor Betty, booked my one-way flight to Bangkok, Thailand, and then with the rest of the money, I just paid some of the debt for the truck. Now, with a staggering $0 to my name and already booked a one-way flight to Bangkok, Thailand, it's safe to say I didn't have that large of a nest egg to be able to help me survive out there in Bangkok. Luckily for me, I had a very strong connection in my corner, aka an ex-drug dealer who used to ship drugs all across the states. We used to all go to the gym, have coffees together, but to be honest, he was my only mentor at the time. After a very long flight with very little to no sleep, I was in Bangkok, Thailand, and I was going to the Airbnb. Already landed an appointment setting role on this B2B offer, which was very promising at the time. And I planned to just stay in this Airbnb to stack up some cash and find something for long term. A few days went by, and after setting numerous appointments with none of them still being closed yet, I still had very high hopes for the offer that I was on. So with those very high hopes, I found a place that I really liked and just signed a contract for 12 months and dialed in. Now, with the $1,500 dwindling down very quickly and surely, the offer that I was on, I was starting to lose hope. All of the countless appointments that I was setting that were very highly qualified, none of them were being closed, so still $0 coming in. Eventually, a few weeks later, I did give up hope on that B2B offer I was on. I knew I had to find another way to make it and find another offer because my savings were dropping down below 500. I was in the danger zone. This hero's journey was not as easy as I had thought it out to be, and I was heading straight down into the trenches. And additionally, I met this one girl that I really liked, and I didn't want her to think I was going broke. So as the days went by, the savings dropped down to a staggering $100, and I sent the girl back to the university because I told her I needed to lock the fuck in and actually find an offer that was actually able to make me money. So now at this point in time, I was very, very desperate in order to make money so I could sustain the new life that I had created for myself. And sending the girl back home and not being able to do anything with my friends besides sparring, because that was the only free, fun thing that I could do, because we would just go to the condos and have a good spar, loosen brain cells. But at this point, I would do anything to make it. But very soon, my pockets were empty. I was down to a flat $0 again. And the thing is, this is when I decided I'm gonna burn the boats. I'm not gonna go back home. I gotta find a way to make this work, because if I do go home, I'm going to be a loser. I'm going to lose all self-respect for myself because I told myself I'm going to go on this hero journey, find a way to make it work. And if I give up on this, what does that make me? And with $0, you can't really buy that much food in Bangkok, let alone anywhere in the world. So that led me to going on a 4-day fast, drinking on the water in the gym, but it did lead me to have a lot more time to find and land my first Goldmine offer, which I was finally able to break through and land that first Goldmine offer, which was very good. Very good. It looked like the tides had turned finally in my favor. But unfortunately for me, the offer wasn't even launched yet. They were still working on the back end stuff, but I had very, very high hopes because it was this YouTuber who had tons of subs, tons of views in the day trading niche. So I knew that it was just a matter of time before I absolutely printed and finally made it out of the hood. The first day we launched the offer, I was literally starving to get a set and get that set closed so I could finally get some commission to hang out with the boys, get some food, and finally see my girl. Very quickly, after a few dials with no answer, someone finally picked up, and after introducing who I was and who I was representing, he went straight into trauma dumping everything that was going wrong with his life into the phone. And I was just listening very intently on what was going on. He couldn't find the right strategy. The course he bought last time was a scam. He had really no idea what to do. Luckily though, he was speaking to good old handsome me, and as I was listening, I was looking at my offer sheet, and all the problems that he was telling me he was having can be solved by what we were selling. So I was connecting the dots, and one thing led to another, and not being the good appointment setter that I was back then, I just went straight in for the close and closed them at $2,500 pay in full, which was the highest ticket product that we had at the time. And funny enough, as an appointment setter, I closed the first ever deal on that offer for $2,500, got $250 straight in my pocket. Usually it's like a bi-weekly basis, but the offer owner, he knew this dire situation I was in and sent me $250 straight to my PayPal. Plus the sales manager, he knew my situation as well and sent me $50 extra just for the first boom, first sale on that offer. It's safe to say that my dopamine levels were spiked off the charts. I could finally eat again, see my friends, see my girl, and most importantly, a sense of pride rushed through my body as I was thinking to myself, most people would have given up. They would have gone home. They would have said, this isn't for me. I'll go back to the 9 to 5. I'll go back to university. But now I had this pride deep down inside me that I pushed through the hard times and I finally made it. After that first initial night of getting that sale, I worked literally every single day, 7 days a week. I wasn't starving anymore, but I was still hungry to level up my income. Around 30 days after that first sale, I made around $3,000, and that's not bad, especially because it was a new offer and it was my first time ever making any real online money. Because I desired to level up my income, I kept training, worked even harder, and I even went to the Philippines just to go all in on remote sales, lock myself in a room until I got to that $10,000 a month. And that's when my life changed forever. My original plan was to lock in the Philippines for around 90 days, but I went home 45 days earlier. That is because halfway through my journey of leveling up as a setter, a new opportunity opened up as a closer. I didn't expect to earn as much as I did in the first few days as a closer, but after I earned what I usually make in a month as a setter in just a few days as a closer, I knew this is exactly what I've been waiting for my entire life. After making nearly $8,000 in 7 days in my first few days as a closer, I left the Philippines, went back to Bangkok, and now I could actually afford to design the life that I wanted in Bangkok that I hadn't been able to afford before. When I returned, I was looking around, found a condo I really loved. It had 20-meter ceilings, everything I wanted with the amenities, acquired a 15-month visa, and also bought a Versace robe, which is actually the one I'm wearing right now. Since then, I've been traveling to Dubai, Malaysia, Bali, pretty much all over the world while being able to absolutely print anywhere I go as long as I had Wi-Fi. Now, every single day that I wake up, I'm able to be very, very grateful for my life, because I took relentless action, I took massive risk, and now I'm able to wake up to the life that I only dreamed of in my parents' backyard. And I shouldn't even be here, guys. I was just a lost, degenerate kid in college with no purpose, no place, no idea what I was doing with my life to where I am now. And I just wanted to give you guys the full story, so hopefully you guys can take some inspiration. And additionally, coming here with $1,500 to my name, no income whatsoever, I would not recommend it to the faint of heart. I would recommend it to you if you're watching this. If you want to get out there, try something new, put your back against the wall, hit rock bottom to see who you really are, I would recommend doing that. But other than that, if you're just an average Joe, I would not recommend doing that. It's not easy as it looks. And if you're looking to fast track through the progress of finding and landing your Goldmine offer so you don't have to fast for days, drink water from the gym, and go through the hardships that I went through, the link is down below to book a call, as I've helped 50 others find and land their Goldmine offers to scale to at least $8,000 to $10,000 a month anywhere in the world. And yeah, other than that, guys, hopefully you guys heard my story. Hopefully it inspired you just a little bit to go out there, go after your dreams, and actually take action. because we'll only have this very short one life that we have. And why waste it? Why never take any risk? Because the only thing is, guys, if you never take any risk whatsoever, you're literally guaranteed to stay in the exact same spot you are in now. So until next time, guys, it's been a pleasure. Have a good one.